The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi all, we are waiting for the other attendees to join with us. We will be starting the webinar shortly. Hi, this is Ankita. On behalf of Tata Steel, I welcome you to this webinar on digitization for ECS, presented by Mr. Debashish Ghosh. Mr. Ghosh is a technocrat and management consultant having 26 years of professional experience and working with Government of India and state government in various digitization interventions. So, sir, we welcome you to this webinar.
Thank you, Ankita. Good afternoon, all. We are slightly delayed because we are waiting for our all of our participants and friends across India to join in, and we hope that the next half an hour, 45 minutes, we'll be able to look forward to some informative session with you all. In primarily, you know that today's the topic for the session is that how digitization can give leverage for the emerging corporates towards growth and productivity. So good afternoon once again. So today digital technology is transforming business and manufacturing processes and is helping emerging corporates to stay not only competitive but also enabling growth and productivity. We will go through this webinar to see the current roles of emerging corporates and get to know the changing landscape and challenges faced by these SMEs, along with highlights on how digital transformation likely to incentivize them towards powering India into future with the help of appropriate digital technology adoption. During the session, we'll also review the maturity level of digital adoption by Indian SMEs and the present state of digital acceptance in manufacturing sector, identify the key drivers to accelerate adoption, and the required technology integration to enhance productivity, process value chain, and growth. Finally, we will also assess the likely impact of digital adoption by the ECs in their overall business performance, along with digital information on why, when, and how to transform businesses through digitization. Let us start with the story of emerging corporates in SME sector so far and their role in Indian economy at large. The most important contribution of ECs today is balancing the economic development of India in SME sector by providing equitable and visible growth. Today there are more than 36 million SMEs, as you know, across India, and who are generating 80 million plus employment and contributing to 80% of India's manufacturing GDP, 45% of total manufacturing output, and 40% of total exports from the country. SMEs today constitutes about 80% of total industrial enterprises in India, creating more than 8,000 value-added products from our country. At 48 million, India has the second largest number of SMEs globally, edging very close to China, who are at 50 million. And these SMEs form the backbone of Make in India initiatives of government with diverse assets, employees, net worth, and products. Thus, SMEs are the growth engine of Indian economy with employing over a million per annum. But friends, these growth engines are faced with various challenges on the face of economic diversity and slowdown of overall steel industry in the last few years. Presently, SME sector faces cutthroat competition. It's showing connection lost. Server has been lost. Yes, we are on. Okay. Sorry for the technical hitch. Sometimes it happens. We lose connections, but thank God that we are connected again. So there we are. Presently, SME sector faces cutthroat competition from technologically advanced overseas industries due to increased globalization and free trade regime, as you all know. Hence, the SMEs need high-skilled workforce, timely redressal of their financial needs, and most importantly, technological upgradation. Many emerging corporates face economic hardships, namely high cost of credit, requirement of collateral assets while going for financing, or limited access to equity capital, which forces SMEs to face financial hardships. Over and above these, ECs are handicapped by high cost of raw materials, limited reach to global markets, poor infrastructure, poor access to modern technology, inadequate skilled resources, coupled with stringent laws and unfriendly business environment which hinder growth. Often, SMEs are found to be non-starters towards adopting regulatory compliances for business transparency, which not only inhibits their productivity but slows down growth as well. Also, supply chain inefficiencies, global competition, lack of information for critical business decisions due to lack of digitization hinders growth. Even low market demand, economic fluctuations, rupee devaluation, demonetization have contributed significantly towards slow adoption of digital technology by SMEs, which has in turn limited the growth of the sector. Okay, so we are on again. I guess if you have missed the last part, we were discussing about the low market demand, economic fluctuations, rupee devaluation, demonetization, which have contributed significantly towards slow adoption of digital technology by the SMEs, which has in turn limited the growth of the sector. Economic trade data released by Commerce and Industry Department, Government of India in June reveals that finished steel exports have slumped by 33% from 6.42 lakh tons in May last year to 4.30 lakh tons in May this year, wherein the change or the slump is quite significant, as you can all see. Hence, it's important for the emerging corporates to understand the changing business and technology landscapes of SME sector as a whole in respect of the steel industry in India. Let us see how economic factors are contributing towards the changing landscape of SMEs. Today, the erstwhile resistant to grow image of the SMEs is fast changing, with more family-owned businesses adopting corporate culture and endorsing statutory compliances and regulatory norms. I guess you will all agree with me here. Government is also facilitating enabling environment and infrastructure through ease of doing business frameworks and national manufacturing competitiveness program initiatives to ensure unhindered growth for the SMEs. Eco-political disturbances in West Asian market and fewer demands in European Union have forced SMEs to lose wider business opportunities in exports, along with cheaper imports being regularly dumped by neighboring countries Korea, China, along with Brazil, Russia, and Ukraine. Interestingly, there is 23% fall in exports in May over April this year, wherein 11%, I'm sorry, wherein 11% rise in imports in this May compared to last year. At the same time, due to changing landscapes on economic front, SMEs are today getting to explore financing opportunities like equity funding, debt funding. London Interbank offered rates for export promotions, NBFC loans for private equity funding, etc., which are crucial to ensure sustainability of SMEs in the long run. Also today, SMEs have started acknowledging the necessity of technology innovation, which are high potential drivers for SME growth and expansion into new territories and developing customer relationship. Now let us look at the technology front. How analytics, mobility, cloud computing, and social media, which we call collectively called SMAC, are the major drivers for changing business landscapes, along with other exponential technologies like Internet of Things, unified communications, digital transformations, etc. Emergence of technology-led lending platforms like Digitisation scheme of Government of India provides a unique opportunity to transform credit delivery to the SMEs and foster credit guarantee for eligible emerging corporates. Even government and regulatory authorities are developing frameworks to unlock and use publicly available data like utility, telecom, banking, tax, etc., which are referred to as big data for SME growth. Government portal like Uddami Mitra provides API-based linkages to connect with various market linkage programs and digital lenders in order to enable access to working capital financing for the SMEs. I guess this is something very important and very interesting uh, steps which government has taken. Thus, Digital India Drive has also brought in huge momentum with digital avenues and internet enabling SMEs to scale up and grow faster beyond existing markets and expand globally. Let us now look at the maturity level of digital adoption by the emerging corporates in SME sector today, especially the reasons for low adoption and barriers to digital uptake, along with the current state of acceptance in manufacturing sector. Statistics show digital SMEs are growing twice as fast as their offline counterparts, but only 32% of them have adopted digitization. KPMG and Google report in 2017 showed a staggering 68% of SMEs are completely offline and only 2% are digitally engaged, primarily due to lack of awareness, inadequate digital skills, poor knowledge, and limited internet infrastructure. Language dependency for technology adoption was still a barrier till the beginning of this decade, when bilingual or vernacular options came in. Even today, in many places, digital infrastructure, infrastructure, if you look at it, are not fully in place, and regulatory issues take time to get addressed. But government has initiated measures starting 2015 to bring in favorable business environment through ease of doing business drives across India. Collective drives from the government as well as private sectors to push for financial inclusions, changes in payment ecosystem, and shifting the paradigm towards adopting IT and digital technology faster would like to see many SMEs adopting digitization to run businesses and engage with their customers. I guess this is a very positive sign, and you will all agree with me. A study by McKinsey this February for the Minister of Electronics and IT has revealed that India has charted a unique path towards digitization to overcome years of slackness, and its impact is inclusive, empowering, and transformative. Let us now look at the barriers to digital uptake, as per the study conducted by KPMG India and Google. The reasons for not being online highlights that 35% of SMEs didn't believe that digitization would add any value to their business due to lack of business visualization. 31% had limited or lack of IT knowledge or expertise. 26% faced prohibitive digital infrastructure cost. 21% had poor connectivity or limited internet access, thus resulting in low usage. 14% had data safety issues and security concern, and the remaining 19% attributed to general lack of initiatives and failure to understand key drivers for digitization. Lack of exposure to digital technologies and level of educational qualification of the business owners played a role in the low adoption of digitization of business by the SMEs. As you can see, higher the education qualification, higher is the percentage of adoption. A study by McKinsey and Company along with erstwhile Planning Commission way back in 2016 revealed that India is gradually witnessing one of the most pervasive adoption of digital technologies in the world, with focus on SMAC at affordable costs. Data shows that India is number one globally, edging out China in world's largest unique digital identity program, and number two behind China in mobility, internet penetration, smartphone technology, and digital adoption and engagement. Major sector performance since 1950 till 2014-15 in terms of GDP percentage share shows marginally better performance in manufacturing. During this period, GDP share percentage rose from 14.16 to 24.2 in manufacturing, wherein it drastically dipped in agriculture but significantly grew in service sector. Another study by McKinsey and Company in February this year for Ministry of Electronics and IT suggests that digital transformation could empower unserved and underserved segments and create $1 trillion of economic value by 2025 and about sustaining 50 to 60 million of jobs. Data shows government initiatives have also enhanced revenue opportunities and fostering SMEs with ease of doing business and facilitating economic infrastructure, including employment generation and fostering Make in India. This shows that e-governance drives have resulted in very high penetration of digital engagement in comparison to adoption in council industries. A joint study by the Astral Planning Commission and McKinsey highlights the digital themes across 9 key areas to pave way for India's digital transformation as government focuses majorly in the manufacturing sector. End-to-end digital supply chain, e-enabled trade and commerce, e-transportation, e-logistics, digital platform, automation, IoT-based advanced analytics are few digital transformation themes proposed by the government to boost digital SMEs across the country. So till now, as the SME story unfolding, we have seen how the challenges and changing business landscape have affected the emerging corporates in creating barriers to digital transformation adoption in India. Now let us look on the key drivers which are likely to accelerate digital adoption by the SMEs with focused initiatives and drives from the government as well as the MSME sector to move towards fourth industrial revolution. Well friends, if any questions so far you can put it. Well, I have one question from Mr. Vikas Bhatia. He's saying he's not getting video and audio, I guess. Let me address this, Mr. Bhatia, Mr. Vikas Bhatia. Well, Mr. Bhatia, just will try to sort this problem with you. Just will take half a minute to see if we can resolve it. Yeah, Mr. Bhatia is not getting video, he says. Video and audio, I guess. There's some problem with it.
That's an old message.
Okay, okay.
That's an old message.
I'm told that that's an old message which has come. Okay, so let's continue. So if any questions so far, you can put it, or let me carry on with the presentation, so we can take the question answers at the end of the session as well. Right. So let us look at the key drivers accelerating adoption today. Today, government is mandated to drive inclusive growth and enhance manufacturing sector to boost GDP from 16 to 25% towards fulfilling its vision of Make in India. Thus, digital transformation is the key driver accelerating adoption by the emerging corporates. Also, government is driving industry growth with major emphasis on creating favorable business environment in every state through ease of doing business initiatives. The purpose of digital adoption is to cut off intermediary or middle layers and to make business processes more transparent, which helps in critical decision making faster. It is slated that digital transformation is likely to become the biggest enabler of business besides automation and financial technology. So from World Bank ranking of 142 in 2015, India is now in Club 100 ranking in 2018. No doubt a commendable achievement within 3 years. Technologically, if we look at the fourth industrial revolution, then digitization is disruptive since Industry 4 is evolved around cyber physical system, Internet of Things and cloud computing. Let's look at the history of manufacturing over the centuries. 1784 saw the first industrial revolution, which is primarily mechanization of production process. 1870 Industry 2 saw first assembly line of mass production using electricity. 1969 or Industry 3 saw the evolution of PLC, programmable logic control systems, and use of electronics and IT for production automation. And today we see fourth industrial revolution with digital manufacturing and cyber physical system assisted production, linking real-time information processing over robust data networks. A study by McKinsey and Company predicts that by 2025, traditional businesses, including manufacturing units, would likely to become financially weak or in debt. In a world of digital commerce and virtual existence, as businesses would be more and more information driven and automated. So friends, digital transformation is no longer a choice or an option, but mandatory adoption. I believe by now you are convinced that you have to adopt digital transformation to survive. Any questions? Any questions so far? If any, please put it on the board, or we'll take it at the end of the session. Now it is also important to assess the likely impact of digital transformation in this emerging corporates or SMEs in respect of business performance matrices like revenue and profit, market reach, competitiveness, process enhancement, decision making, and growth. Or in other words, we can put it that how digital transformation would likely to incentivize the SMEs. Let us look at the top line and bottom line together. Please refer to the digital engagement period. KPMG India and Google study conducted in 2015-16 shows that 68% of SMEs have not opted for digitization. And out of the other 32% who have opted to be, 15% are connected, 15% are enabled, and 2% are actually engaged. If we look at the revenue growth and profit growth, it shows digitally engaged SMEs have nearly twice the revenue growth trajectory as compared to offline SMEs. 77% of firms attributed a substantial revenue growth in the past 12 months of digitization. Digitally engaged SMEs grew profits by 19% year on year as compared to 10% of offline SMEs. And analysis shows engaged SMEs are 4 times more likely to achieve above average profit growth. And if you can see that the major drivers for digital technologies adoptions are greater economies of scale, that you have larger customer base, process upgradation with automation and system integration, and information based decision making. Now next is market reach. The same KPMG Google data shows 51% of digitally enabled SMEs cater to customers beyond their own location boundaries as compared to 29% of offline SMEs. If you now analyze the likely incentives for the SMEs towards market expansion, we see that foundation of digital transformation rests on market openness and creation of new economic opportunities with new products and services offerings to customers. Digitization reduces transaction costs and enables more goods and services to be delivered remotely, thereby enhancing productivity of emerging corporates, which helps them to succeed better in domestic and foreign markets. Thus, digital engagements are a major driver for increasing exports by Indian SMEs. Study also reveals that digital SMEs gain access to information on market trends, new competition offerings, and global best practices, which in turn would likely to foster improved capability and greater product innovations. Therefore, digital tools help SMEs become barriers to their growth by facilitating e-payments, enabling B2B or B2C business collaborations, minimizing capex and facilitating opex through cloud-based infrastructure, and managing automated operations with ERP to run businesses profitably with information-driven decision process fostering growth. Now, when we expand in market, we also have competition, and in the SME sector, it is cutthroat, as we have already seen. According to a study by SAP for Oxford Economics in 2017, digital adoption would help SMEs stay competitive. A survey of over 3,000 management executives in SMEs across 17 countries revealed that more than 50% view digital transformation as a core survival objective. The study also shows that managing traditional businesses with manual or legacy systems would eventually fail to keep up with growing demands of customers, new products inroad in the market, competitive pricing, and quality of service, wherein market intelligence or competition information would be absolutely necessary to strategize new business models for SME survival. Thus, SMEs would need the most of digitization to help them stay relevant, competitive, and survive against competitor disruptions. Hence, it becomes clear that SMEs that have adopted digitization and are evolving with enterprise applications framework of SMAC or e-commerce platform would more likely to remain competitive and survive any disruptions coming their way. And the digital SMEs that have exploited the available information to extract insights on product performance, customer behavior, and brand marketing would likely to take the right decisions on how to increase revenue, avoid oncoming risks, and be cost competitive. The next set of incentives for the SMEs would be process and business enhancement. Digital economy has brought new business models and is helping in rapid expansion of industries. Growing interconnectedness and customers' demand for just-in-time delivery implies that business process needs to be faster and more reliable. Also, digitization helps in effective identification of business risks and management of global supply chain with large volumes of data, facilitating tracking and traceability of products across broader borders, therefore fostering exports. Digitization also helps SMEs in gradual adoption of process, along with business automation, thus helping them move towards Industry 4 revolution and a data-driven digital environment. Digitally enabled business facilitate SMEs to set up manufacturing facilities globally through integrated value chains, thereby enhancing business beyond geographical boundaries easily. Easy decision process is also an incentive for SMEs to adopt digitization. Digitization has evolved a new paradigm for information processing, data integration, and communication in business, leading to effective decision process for the SMEs. So today, information and business data have become toolkit for decision makers who can now easily decide on multi-location business models, new products, competitive customers plan, and forecast their revenue cost vis-a-vis EBITDA for profitability. Thus, effective use of digital technologies has propelled the organization change management and process innovation within companies to leverage critical business decisions by the management and leadership. Studies have shown that digital transformation has given rise to disruptive business models, which continually changes regulatory environment affecting the SMEs. Hence, it becomes imperative for the policy decision makers like government chambers of commerce and industries, SME associations, association of entrepreneurs, and others to clearly understand the functioning of these new technology applications, along with their social, economic, and regulatory implications, so that they can leverage full benefits for the SMEs at large. Finally, the two most critical incentives for the SMEs to drive digital transformation are business expansion and growth. I believe you'll all agree that the ultimate objective is to grow and to make profits. So by now, we are convinced that digital transformation does provide SMEs with data-driven information to decide on business expansion based on their economic and social potential. We have also seen digital adoption helps SMEs to provide their stakeholders with sound understanding of social, economic, and regulatory implications of the disruptive technologies that are affecting their existing businesses and facilitate taking right decisions on the creation of new business or similar on similar or different product lines. Digitization helps SMEs to identify key drivers and barriers to decide whether to adopt an organic or inorganic growth given their business scenario. Thus, decision process becomes easier for the SME stakeholders to identify areas to take growth and expansion opportunities for. For emerging corporates going for multi-location expansions, projects execution becomes imperative on digital platform, with each implementation components becoming integral part of the business process, which can easily be tracked and monitored for progress and on-time execution. Finally, we would review the way forward towards digital adoption of technologies while identifying the primary drivers, explaining why SMEs digitize their business, and when likely, with detail on how to adopt the appropriate technologies to leverage sustainability and growth. If any questions so far, you can put it on the dashboard, or if you feel that we can take the questions at the end of the session, you're most welcome. So let us move to the why factor, identifying the key drivers for digital adoption. If you can look at it, that primarily we are talking about the core drivers which will decide that why emerging corporates or SMEs would adopt digital transformation. First, you can see that integration of business processes, where real-time performance indicators, traceability, automated workflow, notifications alerts will connect all your business process entities like manufacturing, your finance, sales and distribution, purchase, inventory, and customer support. Next is business process management and optimization. You can see the entities of the key components of your business process, like your strategy model, your business assessment, your solution model, solution analysis, then implementation of the process, and analyzing and optimization. Next comes your quick decision and immediate impact. We have already seen that how digitization helps in quick decision process. Scalable technology, new customer market acquisition, leveraging competitive edge, and improving employee and process productivity are the primary key drivers which defines why an SME or emerging corporate should go for digitization. Next, look at that when, the when factor. When is the opportune time to go for digital transformation? This is the most important aspect. Often the organization misses out that whether the organization is ready to take on the challenge or they are prepared to go for the change management. Today, long-term strategies are no longer sustainable and every business must change how it operates due to customers' increasing adoption of digital lifestyles. As you all know, change is the only constant factor today. Thus, culture is key determinant of successful digital transformation, since human resource is the most important element or the operating system of any organization. I guess nobody would doubt about that. Hence, cultural change needs to be addressed before the transformation process can begin. If the organization culture is built around silos, progressive culture leads to technology adoption, and organizations need to build the culture and employee community so as to bring in the change management at the right time. Of course, it takes time to develop a digital culture, but the SMEs have to act proactively in order to be able to compete in today's fast-paced, digitized and multi-channel world. Thus, cultural change management is the most important enabler of digital transformation, since without people, tools won't make any difference to your business. So when the people are ready to accept and adopt digital transformation, go for it in full steam. Now, the most important section, we would see how to adopt appropriate technologies to leverage sustainability and growth for emerging corporates in the SME sector in India. Let us look at the how factor. Four basic areas of digital transformation in any organization. First is infrastructure, then comes enterprise applications or softwares as you call it. Third most important aspect of the areas is human capital or human resource development. And finally is the management control, that defining the objectives, monitoring the performance, assessing the risk, and ensuring that how effectively you can achieve your objectives. Let us now take each of these areas individually in detail. Digital infrastructure. What does this signify? What does this mean? It primarily encompasses four sub-areas: your IT hardware, then your servers, workstations, desktops, laptop, mobile, tabs, any kind of devices or gadgets which is required for your digital transformation or digital adoption, or what we call it digitization. So anything, any hardware, gadgets or devices that you require comes under IT hardware. Next comes the most important aspect of your internet connectivity. Commercial broadband, which we commonly refer to as cloud. Internet lease line or voice over IP are few of the internet connectivities that we can opt for or SMEs can opt for. The third most important area is the networking or connecting your businesses. If you have multi-location offices, manufacturing facilities, your sales outlets or your distribution points, connecting them over a local area network or a wide area network or even with virtual private network. And lastly, communication. That how you communicate across your business entities through teleconferencing, audio visual video conferencing, or unified communications, what we call today telepresence. This entire gamut of digital infrastructure comes under what we often refer to as data center. Some of you must be using uh, your own setup, hardware setup, or infrastructure setup, or you may be taking help of facilitated data center or IT infrastructure support from various service providers. But at the end of the day, this is the most important aspect that we need to understand, that to adopt digital transformation, you need to have these four IT infrastructure. Next comes what we call the enterprise applications. And you have seen during the sessions that we talked about that the adoption of digitization primarily talks about various components of information and technology which needs to be integrated. We can have a separate webinar on the various technology integrations requirement, but primarily today we will only look into the basic applications that one needs to, or a EC or a SME needs to adopt towards digital technology adoption. I'm sure that many of you are conversant with the accounting systems. Either you're running Tally or some customized application developed over a period of time or some legacy systems. But the enterprise applications that we refer to when we talk about digital transformation is migration towards a new paradigm or an enterprise application system or an ERP system. An ERP system or the ERP software primarily takes care of your manufacturing, takes care of your entire business entities, predominantly manufacturing. It takes care of your production planning, purchase and inventory. It handles your supply chain, finance and accounting, the most important component of your business, sales and distribution and customer service. It takes care of your CRM, human capital management. It takes care of the skill development and resourcing and performance of the employees and they are defining their KRAs. Next is human capital and resource management. The concept is basically moving from personnel and human resource to human capital management. If you look at it, the basic building blocks of human capital management today, it talks about the workforce planning, then the compensation management, the career planning of the employees, their performance management, their skill development, learning management, and their succession planning. So the HCM application framework primarily works on these areas of employee data management, time and labor integration with usage of time card, electronic attendance system, etc. Seamless payroll integration, defining the key performance indexes or the role definitions of the employees, defining or other giving them their KRAs. Then performance appraisal, how the employee is performing over the period of time in their respective roles. Compensation and benefits administration, training and skilling, and finally succession planning, severance or industrial relationships. And lastly, management and control. As we have seen that the management control looks at four basic criteria, like the objectives of the business, managing the risks, controls the operations, and ensures the results. So the management control perspectives are primarily defining the business objectives, that your revenue target or your profitability, forecasting risks and mitigating them, controls operation and manage performance, and delivers results to ensure objectives are ensured. That's the role of the management, very clearly defined. Now, how the management control tools help in. So the basic ERP, what we have seen in the previous slides, it gives the MIS reports, which are basic information or data for your decision making. Next level is business intelligence, which today many of you or many of the companies are already using, they have adopted, which gives an visualization that how your business is performing vis-a-vis your objectives and given your present manufacturing setup. And the third most advanced management control tool or the management tools that is predominantly used by very large organizations are predictive analytics. It gives a lot of forecasting as to how your business can be run better in face of disruptive forces, in face of policy or regulatory changes, in face of stringent regulations coming in face of competition, as well as in face of slowdown. Right? So we will now see that how leveraging the new wave of digital technologies by the emerging corporates can actually help in sustaining their digital transformation adoption. Four major trends driving this transformation for businesses are: the way people want to work is changing. That today people want to visualize business. They want to enhance their business process transparency, and they want to take decisions based on information. Secondly, the customer expectations are changing as we see that demands are more specific, time bound, high quality of service is in demand, and faster response. Third is that technology can do good work for you. Automation leads to improved productivity, improves quality, and manages operation and optimizes costs. And the fourth trend is data is taking the risk out of your own business. Data is helping in forecasting and real-time analytics, and it also helps in risk assessment and timely mitigation. Well, we'd like to take a couple of, or rather few examples or initiatives in emerging corporate segments across India, like the Indian auto component industry, ACMA, in the third ACT summit, they have actually focused on digitizing auto component industries, creating smart factories. Epiroc India launched upgraded versions of their semi-hydraulic drills in 2017, which uses a new data management system. As you all know, CNC machines today have revolutionized tool rooms and machining, and even solar industries are powered by IT and softwares. Thank you all. Thank you so much for attending this session. I have tried to showcase and highlight that what presently these scenarios are and how you all can adopt and uh, and you can take this forward. So now the session is open for question and answer. So please feel free to shoot any questions you have, and I am there to answer to the best of my knowledge. Mr. Gupta, Mr. Gagandeep, Mr. Kunal Jhatia, Sandipan Dhar, Mr. Bhatia, you all have gone through the presentation, I believe, and hope you have seen some commonality with what I discussed here today, and the way that your business is run, or the way that you have experienced, if any disruption so far, or if any challenges so far. So please, the house is open for questions. Please feel free to ask any questions you want. So I believe no questions so far. I'm sure that you all have absorbed what I've tried to communicate. Well, Mr. Dhar, yes, you have asked. There's a question from Mr. Dhar that can you share this PPT? I have to just check it with Tata Steel, and maybe we can send it to you separately. I mean, we can mail it to you. We need to check with Tata Steel. If it is allowed, then the presentation can be sent to all of you. Any other questions? Okay, my pleasure, Mr. Thor. Any questions on the adoption, or any questions on uh, any doubts that you have, or if you're within that 68% which we have seen that who are yet to feel the need for digitization, feel free to ask me a question. But just I'd like to share one very simple or very important message that today digitization is no longer an option. You don't have a choice. Tomorrow, somebody might be disrupting your business. So before you get disrupted, why not you adopt the disruption yourself? Any other questions? Um, yes, Mr. Kunal, if any, you have any questions? You can see the icons. I guess we have no further questions. So we take this opportunity to thank all of you who have participated today, and look forward to more interactions, maybe in person. And we plan a couple of other webinars. Over this month, primarily taking each of the segments that we discussed today. That primarily the drivers and the drivers for digitization, and the areas primarily for the how to go about the adoption. Okay, so let's take it so far, and wish you all the best, and a very good evening and a nice weekend. Take care. Hope you have all enjoyed. And if any questions, you can send back through mails, and we'll definitely answer you back. Thank you, and bye bye.